All right, hi, how's everybody doing today? You're going to be joining us for episode 2 of the setup. I think we're officially seasoned veterans here in the grueling podcast business.
We're already 100 episodes in.
Yeah. Today we're going to be talking some NHL final recap, then we're going to do an NBA mock for the top 10 picks, then we'll round it out with some golf talk at the end of the episode. So last night the Knights finished the series with a 9-3 victory to win the Stanley Cup in 5 games. I'll swing it to Ethan. What are your closing thoughts on the series?
Yeah, I think it was, the games were entertaining, but at the same time they weren't. I kind of see the NBA and NHL finals kind of in parallel. I see the Knights and the Nuggets as a team in the same category. They had a great regular season.
I had the same thing written down.
They had
literally the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
they were, kind of the same within the regular season. Not necessarily favorites off the rip, but definitely teams that could contend for the title. And then
they were. I feel like they were quietly both like the best team in their respective conference, league, whatever you want to say. And just because they weren't like maybe like a flashier market or commanded more attention from like major media, they kind of went on not under the radar because obviously like. Jokic, MVP winner.
They're other teams.
Yeah. They're not your like classic like top of the league finishers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I would just see the Heat and the Panthers as a parallel. Very low seeds. The Heat were in the play-in. The Panthers were playing really tough matchups as well. They both dominated all their ways up until getting there. I know the Heat almost blew a 3-0 lead, but ended up, closing out that series. So it was very interesting to see, but I think both the Heat and specifically in this instance, the Panthers just didn't have enough when it came to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, another parallel too, we talked a little bit, I think definitely last episode, considering it's our only episode today.
Yes.
But we talked a little bit about like how dominant Jokic and like the Nuggets finals run was too. I'll be the first to say I'm absolutely an NHL, a hockey casual. It's probably the sport I pay the least attention to amongst what I do watch. But a few things I made note of. The Knights, did you know they only trailed once in any series throughout their entire run, and that was losing Game 1 against Winnipeg in their first series?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I remember watching that game too. Yeah, wow, that's kind of crazy.
On top of that, their 88 goals is the most scored in any playoff run since 1993 and the third most all-time throughout any run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, then obviously Marchessault got the Conn Smythe, which was, I feel like, pretty well-deserved. I know you could also have the conversation in there for Stone getting the, hat trick in the last game. But, I mean, there were 9 goals scored. Could have been anyone at that point, but...
yeah, well deserved. But I feel like it was one of the most like balanced attacks I remember seeing in a long time.
Oh yeah,
Marchessault scored goals basically every game down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Stone was great. Jack Eichel wasn't scoring a lot of goals, but he was still getting a lot of points. Carlson and Stevenson had 10+ goals throughout the playoff run. It was kind of just everybody contributing. Even Aiden Hill. I mean, I know they struggled with finding like a consistent goaltender throughout the season, but I mean, there's really not much more you can ask for.
That's a really good point that you bring up too. It's crazy that Vegas did what they did because between all of the goaltenders that they had, they literally were just riding who was healthy at the time for the entire season. And I don't know if it's because they were used to it last year. Last year they had, realistically pretty much the same exact team as this year. They were just plagued by injuries. They didn't make the playoffs. It was the same team last year, just there were so many injuries, and a lot of people were saying, this Knights team is for real last year. And I mean, I agree too. They just missed the playoffs. So, I mean, you see them get healthy this year, and then, they come in and win the Stanley Cup. And I think even too, it's good that Jonathan Quick, gets another ring added onto his Hall of Fame career as well.
Yeah, so. I'm interested. One other sidebar I'm kind of interested to see is what is a parade in Vegas going to be like? Considering, I mean, it's the first major sports parade in our city, and everybody basically just walks down the street drunk there on a regular basis. So I'm wondering if it'll be just your run-of-the-mill run-of-the-mill Friday in Vegas, or if it'll be a little bit more exciting. But they definitely have a really strong fan base. It's fun to see kind of like a non-typical hockey market, kind of a. I mean, to be honest, the final is kind of a hockey purist's worst nightmare. You got Vegas and Florida playing in the final. But it was just fun to see like an expansion team be so consistent for so many years and win a championship within the first, 5 years?
6 years now.
6 years there is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so it was cool. It was definitely cool.
Yeah, clearly this organization had something special coming off because, they made it to the Cup Final their first year. They unfortunately didn't win that year, but, coming back, it felt kind of good to see them finally be able to do it. But I also think we got to get our hats off to Kachuk because
he was electric.
He really was one of the stars of the league to becoming a superstar within a span of a few weeks. Because, that Florida team, as well as Bob getting very hot, and I'm very used to seeing Bob play, for Columbus as well, too. Yeah, they had a hot goalie, which helped, of course, too. But Tkachuk came up so big for them in so many series. I think the Stars series was one that I think specifically, not the Stars series, not the Stars series.
But the Hurricanes?
Hurricane series specifically would stand out with the OT winners. I feel like this team went to OT more than any team in the NHL, specifically in these playoffs. But yeah, so kind of got sidetracked, but I just say hats off to Tkachuk for this series.
It was also an interesting playoffs because I felt like the first round had a lot of OT games, a lot of games down to the wire. All in all, I thought the first round might have been the best round of the playoffs, but that's also because you just have more teams playing at
more
the same
games.
time. And the second round was kind of boring. But then I thought the conference finals were really good. So I don't know. I was kind of back and forth with the NHL this year, or this playoffs at least.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely a different sport than any other. Like Tkachuk breaks his sternum, and he's doing everything he can to play to try to help his team come back from that series. And you don't see that in any other. I feel like any other sports.
And the NBA, as soon as the Lakers lose, they'll tell you LeBron was playing with a broken pinky.
No, it's ridiculous.
It's interesting.
I would say it was definitely a good year of hockey, though. No doubt about that, though. So
you got any way too early predictions for next year? Teams you like to win a cup, maybe?
Here's what's funny is I know they're a huge question mark, and everyone says this every year.
You say the Maple Leafs?
The Leafs have the core to go to the Stanley Cup Final, but they won't because every single year it's the same narrative. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a weird time too because you get teams like the Lightning. The Lightning's run kind of finally came to an end. I know going to the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row is pretty impressive, winning 2 of them. It was really impressive to see how the Lightning have battled. They had their time too. I don't know if they'll go into rebuild or not, but it's going to be a big difference, I think, coming in next year with a lot of different teams. I think this offseason will bring a lot of different moves, which we will have to touch on in another podcast. But
yeah, totally unbiased line of questioning here, not coming from any form of bias whatsoever. What do you think the Seattle Kraken do in this offseason? Sign any big name free agents?
So I like Grubauer for them in goal. I do enjoy that. I know he got his revenge with the Avs. Mm-hmm. I guess I would say it's a very easy cop out answer, but I would just say depth, and then I would just say a specific goal scorer. You saw, I would say the Kraken right now are kind of in the same position that the Knights were in when they first came into the league.
Yeah,
they had a great team. They had great depth. They didn't have a specific guy that was scoring all their goals.
It kind of feels like they don't have a true, at least from what I've watched, it kind of doesn't seem like they have a true, first through fourth line. They have a lot of guys who could be, a good second liner on a lot of NHL teams.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I don't know if it was front office or coaching, but they made that team gel together very well. Yeah. So I think for them, if I'm the Kraken front office, I'm going out. I'm getting a goal scorer. I'm opting into the Austin Matthews sweepstakes, whatever it may be. I'm getting that number 1 that Vegas did with Eichel. Clearly led to a good recipe because they proved this year you don't need to have the best goalie or top 5 goalie in the NHL to win nowadays, which is
kind of unorthodox.
Yeah,
as far
it
as,
is.
History goes, right?
Exactly, yeah, because in recent years it's kind of like who's the the hottest goalie is who is going to win you the cup. You know, Crawford for the Blackhawks. You had Quick for the Kings. Vasilevsky, obviously, for the Lightning. Things of that sort and that nature. I think it's great now, too, because coming into the next playoffs, you won't have a specific idea of who's going to be winning it, but more so good. But did you like this year's playoffs? Do you think it was good?
It was good at times, I felt like. I mean, it had its moments, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And all playoffs, too.
This is probably the last hockey we'll be talking in a while.
For
maybe till, like, the draft, if we talk about Bedard and some of those guys.
Or free agency, but for sure.
I mean, speaking of the draft, our next topic here, we're going to be doing a top 10 NBA mock draft. Let's just go straight away. I'll let you start here, Ethan, with the Spurs.
So, with the first pick, I think this one's pretty obvious. I think everyone and their grandma who knows anything about basketball knows that they're going with Victor Wembanyama. I mean, I see the fit. I think he's going to fit with everybody. Injuries,
fit doesn't even matter with him.
Injuries is what I can see is the biggest question mark. What's your take on Wembanyama?
I mean, I was listening to a Brian Windhurst interview because I don't know if you saw, they sent him to France for 90 minutes to go interview him during the draft lottery. Did you see that clip? They had Wendy. I don't know what, now that LeBron's going to retire, I think Wendy's looking for a new guy to leech off of. And it looks like it might be Wendy. But during the lottery, they had Wendy in France. He was at Wemby's draft party, just like standing in the corner. You could see him leading up to when they announced the number one pick, and then he did a little like 90-second interview with Wemby. I don't know. There's not much to say. He's a freak. Like, what do you want to? Well, what is there to say? He could be guarding the paint, and then you shoot a three, and he could come out and block the three by taking 2 steps.
Yeah,
I mean,
my only thing for him is you're gonna have to learn how to take a charge and then also sell it, because you are going to be the target. Because
I think there'll be times, don't get me wrong, like, he's awesome. I think there'll be times he's in the paint and maybe he gets bullied by a guy who's a little bit bigger than him but a few inches shorter. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's going to be times where he takes Steven Adams or Jonas Valanciunas out to the perimeter and he makes them look stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's...
I mean, he's a freak. So what, he's skinny. If he gives up a bucket in the post, which I don't think he'll do very often, you trade that off with him being an elite perimeter player at 7'4", which we've never seen in our lives.
So then that begs my next question for you is, you are Greg Popovich. I know they're already probably planning, but what type of player, I know it could also depend on that matchup for the night, but do you want Wembanyama sitting out on the perimeter, or do you want him not being afraid to try to control his paint or work the outside? Because today's NBA is very much working the perimeter.
I think it just kind of depends who he plays against, right?
Okay.
If it's like Bam, you take him to the post. And you do all the work you can because you're 7'4" and he's a 6'8" center.
Yeah.
If you're playing against Anthony Davis in the post, you probably want to go out to the perimeter and do some work there. But I mean, there's really not much to say. Mm-hmm. He's the most as consensus gets.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So there you go. Wembanyama, you're a Spur.
Yeah. Number 2, I have the Hornets taking not Brandon Miller. I have the Hornets taking Scoot Henderson, number 2 overall.
I like it.
To be honest, This might be due in part to me not thinking LaMelo Ball is like the best player. I mean, I think he could be a very good second or third, probably a second option on a contending team. But in any other year where you don't have a 2K created player going number 1 overall, Scoot Henderson's going to be the number 1 pick. Obviously, he has some like shooting concerns, but he seems like he has the mentality and more to be like a very successful guard in the NBA. He plays on-ball defense really well. He's freakishly athletic. I mean, he'd be the number 1 pick in any other draft.
I definitely think, I do agree with that. I think, and this might be crazy to say, but I think there is potential for Scoot being maybe even a top 2 or the best player coming out of this draft. I think from what I've seen from him, he translates extremely well to the NBA. His slashing ability, he can shoot, he can do it all. Looks like he can break down and defend too. Long wingspan, everything of that nature. So
Yeah.
all right, so yeah, going third for me now is the Blazers. I'm gonna go Brandon Miller. I think that's the safe pick. I really don't know what's going on with Damian Lillard.
That's what I was gonna say. I could see that. I think it'll be Brandon Miller or Scoot, depending on who goes 2. I mean, whichever one of those guys is left will get picked 3rd. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know. I don't know if it'll be the Blazers picking or someone else. Because they're like,
and that's what I was also gonna bring up too is I wouldn't put a trade completely out of the question. I think trading that 3rd pick along with is Dame a free agent or is he's locked down?
Yeah, he's
so what would a reality in which pairing that 3rd pick with the Damian Lillard look like, you think, in return for what the Blazers could get?
I don't think they'd pair it with Dame. I think they'd trade the 3rd pick and like Simons or someone else, maybe Shaedon Sharp, for a good second option for Dame. The problem I see, I don't know. For me, it's like these teams like the Raptors, the Blazers. Who else is kind of like that? Maybe not really the Wizards. They weren't a good team this year, but they're kind of. I mean, I know Dame's whole thing is like, don't run. I'll never run from the grind. Yada yada yada. But you're kind of living in delusion if you've had this guy for 10 years and he's been a top 10 to 15 player for that long, and the best success you've had is going to a Western Conference Finals, and you haven't really surrounded him with any type of players who are going to elevate them to a championship team. If it's me, to be totally honest, I'm trading Dame and trying to build around whoever they draft at 3. That's just my point of view. But I could see them trading for like a Pascal Siakam, Karl Anthony Towns, one of those guys. I don't know if it'll work out because I don't think Dame plus one of those second options is a contender, but it's always possible.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, that pick's really hard to do because that's kind of like on a draft night type thing because anything could happen leading up to it.
Number 4 overall, the Rockets. I have them taking Azure Thompson. I just think they need stability because they have no veterans on their team outside of, I was going to say Eric Gordon, but they just traded him away. I think Kevin Porter Jr. is a good player. He's definitely matured, and he's gotten better as the years have gone on. But they need a consistent playmaking threat that can be a leader for the team. I'm maybe a little lower on Jalen Green than some people are.
Agreed.
I don't think he's like... Agreed. I don't think he's a number 1 option on a good team. I love Alperen Şengün. One of my favorite players by far. He's mini Jokic, and we just saw what Jokic did. But, I mean, Azure Thompson kind of reminds me of like Sean Livingston maybe a little bit. He's got that midi pull-up. He's freaky athletic. I mean, before Sean Livingston broke his leg in half, he was a super athletic player.
Yeah.
So I think I could see them taking Thompson. That's who I've got. I could also see Anthony Black. He's a very good playmaker. I don't know, but who knows? It's the Rockets. They might just take somebody we've never heard of.
They're playing glorified AAU ball, bro. I don't know how these players would size up on any other team besides the Rockets.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also like Azure Thompson because I think Ime will bring a lot of more defensive emphasis, and he's a plus defender because he's 6'8", he's lanky, he has defensive versatility, he can guard a couple positions on the floor. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to talk about the Rockets at length, to be totally honest, because there's really not much to be desired.
Yeah. So, you're locking him in at 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, 5th, I'm going to go with the Detroit Pistons. This team needs, I feel like anything. Their bench is horrendous. I'm going to go Cam Whitmore here.
I'm not Killian Hayes. You don't like Killian Hayes?
I'm not. Yeah, that might be a Guangdong Tigers type guy, yeah. But Corey Corey Joseph, Alec Burks, and Isaiah Livers off the bench as your top 3 guys is not going to do it for you.
No, absolutely not. And that,
I know they got Bogdan, and Bogdan just re-signed.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, Boyan.
They extended him.
Boyan, not Bogdan, not the Hawks one.
That doesn't make it any easier for Cade either.
No.
Because...
Why would you draft a guard here, too, or a big man?
No, what I'm trying to say is, like, when the guys you're able to play make with and pass the ball are G-Leaguers, how can you expect any type of confidence boost or development out of a number 1 pick who's played 50 games in 2 years?
Yeah, and I just think, injuries are a very big thing in basketball too as well. Obviously, you saw what happened with Cade. They have zero depth outside of that. Their starting five's not terrible. I will say it's not terrible.
I like Jalen
looking at it on paper, and they got Wiseman too.
I forgot they had.
Yeah,
Wiseman.
I like it's a good 5 or 6. Like, I'm not saying it's anything crazy, but you need anything here to fill this depth because you got to account for injuries. I really don't think if you just pick best available from the Pistons at this point, you really can't mess it up that much because you need depth. You need someone. So
they kind of got the short end of the stick in the lottery too. They were top 3. They had equal odds for the number 1 pick, and they did.
Yeah,
but got to be tough for Pistons fans watching 82 games of Killian Hayes, and then ended up with the 5th overall pick.
It's so rough.
Yeah.
So rough.
Transitioning number 6. Here I have the Magic taking Anthony Black. I think he should be available, and he might be the best playmaker in this draft. And, I mean, they thought Jalen Suggs might be that guy, but he's turned into more of a defensive too. Markelle Fultz, obviously. You can't really count on him being healthy. And then, who's the other guard they had? Oh, Cole Anthony.
Gary Harris, too.
It's Gary Harris. But I think Cole Anthony's a good, 6th or 7th man on a good team. But Anthony Black might be the best playmaker in this draft. And he fits well with their lanky lineup. I mean, he's 6'6". Imagine a lineup of Anthony Black, Franz playing the 2, Paulo at the 3, Ball at the 4, and Wendell Carter at the 5.
Yeah.
That'd be ridiculous.
I like Anthony Black a lot. My only rebuttal would be I think that they could get some value trading back 4 or 5 picks taking Lively at 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
They don't have a specific center. I mean, if you want to play Wendell Carter who's 6'6", 6'7", I mean, yeah, he's all right.
He's like 6'10".
He plays smaller than he plays smaller.
Definitely. But he's like a Robert Williams type.
But I'm saying they don't have a specifically, I would say, big guy unless you throw Mo Wagner in there, who's Mo Wagner, who's not his brother, or Goga Bataz.
I think last time I was hearing about Mo Wagner, he was getting knocked out by our friend Killian Hayes in a game in December.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes.
Too much Killian Hayes talk for one episode.
Yeah, seriously. But I don't know. I feel like guards, I feel like they're kind of already over-cluttered with guards, and why throw a 4th or 5th one in there? They're very good at drafting good college players who don't pan out. If I'm them, I'm trading back, and I'm drafting Lively or any of the other bigs that are available, because
I don't hate that.
Their bigs are atrocious.
Because they have 2 guys who've proven that they can be a really good number 1, 2 option for years.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then now moving on to 7 for the Pacers. See, I feel like this is they already have good guards as well too. I would go Jarris Walker out of Houston. And it's weird. One thing I'm looking now too is this is a really, really young draft. Like, most of these dudes that are going to be going in the lottery are complete freshmen, like playing
young,
one year.
Or are we just getting older?
No, I mean, yeah, but like usually some teams will draft for, some veteran leadership or anything of that sort. But lot of freshmen. I know Redshirt can, throw a little, complications into it as well. But I think the Pacers were a very good team though last year. I know they gave our Cavs some problems in the regular season too. Yeah, I think Jarris Walker could fit. I definitely think they need bigs. I like Miles Turner, but bigs is definitely where I would want to go to. So.
Yeah, he's a versatile player too. He can kind of play around the floor. He can guard multiple positions, and he's a good inside scorer.
Yeah, good Houston team too.
Overall, the Wizards. I would have liked to take like a true playmaking point guard, but I think this draft kind of lacks that. Outside of like Scoot, Anthony Black's obviously a good playmaker. There's kind of a fall off. There's a lot of wings in like the late lottery, mid first round. I have them
Always.
Yeah, as always. I have them taking Amon Thompson, kind of falling based on what I've seen from other mocks. The Wizards just kind of need anything, man. It looks like Bradley Beal might be gone. Kuzma's a free agent. I know Tingus Pingus signed an extension pretty recently. But they drafted Johnny Davis
Beal.
last year,
Bust.
who might be one of the worst rookies we've ever seen.
They didn't play him either.
I don't even think he was scoring points in the G League.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't play him either.
They barely played him. One of your other recent draft picks was playing for the Lakers in the playoffs and playing really good basketball as soon as he got out of Washington. Denny Vija gets hurt pretty often. They just need to hit on something.
They do.
And I think you kind of, at that point, just have to take the best player available. I think that's Amon Thompson. He's really athletic.
I like that pick. I like that pick a lot.
Teams are kind of already daring him to shoot from the outside, which isn't great. But he provides a lot of versatility, both defensively and offensively. He can play multiple positions, guard multiple positions.
Yeah.
You just have to take what's best available at that point. Because it's been so many years at this point of non-contention and mediocre basketball, and you're about to lose your best player who you just agreed to pay $250 million over 5 years. They kind of just seem like one of the most directionless teams in basketball, and
Definitely.
there's really just not much else to say.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. I just feel like they need to hit on something.
On anything.
Because, I mean, it's just like, I think Amon can also play, he's 6'7", he's big. You could also stretch him to the 3. Like you said, he could play multiple positions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that up as a question. I think having a versatile guy of his nature, I think they would be blessed to have a guy like him there to be able to take him. So I agree with that one. Okay, so now moving on to number 9, and that is the Utah Jazz. Another interesting team. I personally like, and I know this may be a stretch, I like Keontae George here. I know people, liked Grady Dick at this spot for them too. I didn't necessarily like a lot from what I saw from Grady Dick. I know he's a fantastic shooter and whatnot, but I think Keontae George can provide them some, wing scoring and wing aggressiveness that they need.
You kind of just need anything. At this point.
Yeah, because they have Laurie, who is playing pretty well. All-star too. Walker Kessler was a great, really good defensive big man.
Probably the best pick as far as value goes last year.
They have Clarkson starting at shooting guard right now. I think Clarkson may fit better as coming off the bench.
Yeah. I mean, he won 6th man of the year.
Yeah, so I feel like that's more so his lane. You could also do something about replacing Kelly Olynyk starting at power forward. Whatever, maybe they could be one to get lively and pull the Cavs and get two two-headed monsters, but then again, you'd have a little too much clogging problems with. Actually, no, because the shooting would be off. I think Keontae George. I think it's a don't overthink it pick. I would go with him
for sure. Wrapping it up here at 10, I have the Mavericks taking Taylor Hendricks out of UCF. I could see that, just like the Blazers, I could kind of see this pick getting traded. I don't know. We've seen LeBron to Dallas rumors. We've seen Kyrie to LA rumors. I don't really know what's going to happen there. But the Mavericks kind of just need any piece that can play well around Luka. I mean, he's a good two-way player, like a lot of the guys we've talked about. It seems like more and more these prospects are becoming more versatile. I don't know if we've seen like a 6'1" point guard in the top 10 in the last couple of years. You know what I mean?
It's unfortunate, but that's
it's all like big, lanky guys who can pass, shoot, and play defense.
Scoot's one of the really smaller guys, and he's only listed as 6'2".
Yeah, but I like Taylor Hendricks for one because he's a plus defender, and the Mavericks, not this past year, but the year prior, Jason Kidd's first or second year, they were actually a really good defensive team, which is kind of surprising considering they had Luka out on the floor for 40 minutes a game, but they were playing good team defense. And this year they tailed off. They were one of the bottom teams ranked in defensive efficiency. He's just kind of a plug-and-play player that you can play at multiple positions. He'll play good defense, rebound the ball. They don't have great rebounders on their roster. And I think he's just a great fit next to Luka. And if he drops that far, I think you have to take him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think Dallas is looking for, something different now because you trade away that package, you get Kyrie. You were expecting playoffs. You were looking towards playoffs if you're Dallas, and obviously that's not what happened. I think first four out of the lottery could be that Bilal Koulibaly, Grady Dick, obviously, Lively if he falls out, Hood Schifino, all great guys. So I guess we'll see when it comes to draft night how we'll go. But I like that draft. Sure. I think it was good.
Yeah, I mean, transitioning here, we're going to do a little golf talk. We're going to talk some U.S. Open to begin, and then we're going to give a little recap of the bogey golf that we played this week.
Yeah, yes.
So, looking at the U.S. Open, obviously there's a lot of storylines about the LIV PGA merger. I don't know if either of us are really qualified to talk about the public investment fund of Saudi Arabia or anything.
No, we are not. No,
we're certainly not capital J journalists that know about the open salad and all that stuff. So we're gonna keep it to golf here. Obviously, people have their opinions, but we're just gonna talk about some of the golf that was played today on the opening day of the U.S. Open at LA Country Club. I don't know if you've seen what Ricky Fowler's been doing lately.
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
He opened this season with his first world rank above 100, but in his last 15 tournaments, he's been top 15 in 10 of his last 15. We really haven't seen him play this good of golf since
we were kids.
Mid 2010s.
We were
kids watching him wear bright orange outfits on Sundays.
The Puma hats. I almost got one.
He was on the Puma wave before it was popular.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
Yeah, he's tied for first today. He shot a 62. Him and Xander Schauffele shot a 62 -8, one shy of the course record, which is actually held by Max Homa.
Yes,
he set it in college. I think at either UCLA or USC, but one shy of the course record. They're tied for the lead. I don't know. It's just kind of fun to see Ricky Fowler bounce back. He's been knocking on the door of winning his first major for what seems like all season. He finished well at the PGA Championship as well as the Masters, and he's off to a hot start today. I was curious what you think.
No, I think it's great. Obviously, I was a big fan of Ricky when I was a kid too. I think it's good that the top leaderboard. I know it's only day one, just kind of looks different. It's good to not see Scheffler or Rahm up there like they always are as of right now. Yeah. Justin Thomas.
One of the interesting things I think too, the top guys this week, or at least to start out the week, it kind of feels like a U.S. Open from like 2018, 2019. You got Rory up at the top, Dustin Johnson's third, DeChambeau's up there.
Yeah.
He's tied.
He's been struggling too.
Tied for eighth. I mean, he played pretty well to start out the PGA Championship, but he's been playing a little bit better golf as of late. And I don't know. It's kind of been a nostalgic U.S. Open. Obviously, no Tiger because he's doing whatever he's doing, probably living in a retirement home.
Yeah.
But I mean, Brooks defending PGA Championship +2. He's 10 out of the lead.
Yeah. Max is a big Brooks guy.
I am a big Brooks guy. Big Brooks guy. But no, it's been interesting. Have you seen the rough that they're playing in?
Yes. I saw a clip of Rory hitting out of that rough, and that, coming from people who golf, looks impossible.
Just for context, for anybody who might be listening, me and Ethan, if we played 18 holes, we'd probably be in like the mid to high 90s, so we're not great golfers.
No, I would say over 100.
I think, at LA County Country Club, definitely.
Yeah.
But at the crappy municipal courses we play around town, we shoot like over 9 holes, probably like 45 to like 49, right around there, range, just short of 100 over 18. So I think, what would you set the over-under at for lost balls at over 18 holes at LA Country Club if we were playing this weekend?
I think if there was a person who could personally deliver golf balls.
No ball spotter. No ball spotter.
If I'm bringing 20 with me, I'm losing everything.
You think so?
Maybe not everything. I definitely would lose 15.
Yeah, definitely
would
not
lose
bringing
15.
any Pro V1s to the course.
I would also hit one into the water with
Yeah.
anger.
We're gonna be hitting the Strixon and the Kirklands for sure.
Yes.
We're not looking to lose any balls.
No.
I'll go ahead. I'm sorry.
One thing I'm also curious about too is last year's winner, Matty Fitz, 57th right now. Won here last year and didn't have the best first day. I know he's a guy that, is one of those people that, take down all the shots that he takes and is extremely analytical about it.
Have you seen his crosshand chipping?
No,
So he does when he chips sometimes, instead of stacking like his dominant hand on top, he flip-flops them like this. I have no idea what type of advantage that gives you, but it's got to be the most uncomfortable swing I've ever seen.
Yeah, but what I was bringing it up is that just goes to show you how mental of a game that golf is you are literally winning at that place last year, and then you are in turn coming in 57th after the first day and approaching the cut. So
Yep, my last thing with the opening day of the U.S. Open. Have you heard about the monkeys?
no.
So, fun fact about LA Country Club. On the tee box of the 14th hole is the old Playboy Mansion in Los Angeles where Hugh
Wow.
Hefner and the Playboy Bottles lived. And when you're teeing off on 14, you can faintly hear the screeches of monkeys that lived in the Playboy Mansion for years.
Wow.
And if you go through some of the bushes and the trees next to the tee box, you can literally see off from the distance a bunch of monkeys climbing around in this cage. Some of the players were talking about it. It's super interesting.
That's
Isn't that
that's a
crazy?
great anecdote
Yeah.
that you brought up. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
So
really crazy.
There's a little monkey farm on 14. Definitely an interesting interruption to what can be a brutal back nine for some of the players out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's gonna be really interesting to watch this be played, and seeing as it is a major. Which is your favorite of the majors?
I mean, it's
Masters.
If you don't say the Masters, you're
Masters,
wrong.
yeah.
You're wrong.
I mean, yeah, I also like the Open Championship, but the Masters is definitely got to be.
I would say with the other ones, it kind of just depends where it's played. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like an Open at St. Andrews is obviously awesome. A U.S. Open at Pebble Beach is obviously sick too. Torrey Pines as well. But yeah, that's about all I got for the U.S. Open.
What's the What is the? It is the one. It's the one Open. I think it's sponsored by like a trash company or something.
Oh, Waste Management.
The Waste
in
Management.
Scottsdale.
With the
It's an
Waste
interesting
Management,
tournament.
that is on my bucket list to go see a round of golf professionally
Yes,
there
definitely.
at the Waste
totally go to
Management.
Waste Management.
And that one
Yeah.
is electric. I would go to that for sure.
I think what makes it like a zoo is literally it's like so like with most tournaments there's limited number of tickets. I think they'll sell like literally as many tickets as people will buy.
Yeah.
And then you get to the gates and people just start flooding in. I think the food there it's like one of the more affordable tournaments to go to, and that's why it's usually a little bit crazier. I remember I don't know if you've seen Full Swing. You remember
Yes.
Joel Damon?
Joel Damon, yeah.
He took his shirt off last year. Or maybe it was
Yes.
2 years ago at the Waste Management. But
Yeah.
definitely
That
interesting.
that I could also give the live guys a little bonus home field advantage with all that noise that the other PGA guys haven't been used to.
Yeah, for sure.
Could have given them a little advantage next
Definitely.
time.
And there's some live guys near the top of the leaderboard.
There is.
Day one.
There is.
So transitioning here, we're going to talk a little bit about the 2 rounds of golf we played this week. You got any opening thoughts?
It is just a mental battle when you are golfing. It is just you think you're playing really well. Then I thought I was playing pretty well. Then I ended up triple bogeying, double bogeying, everything. It's definitely great getting out on the course, but it's.
Yeah.
I thought they went decent. I had fun though.
I don't know. We played this Wednesday at Valley of the Eagles in Elyria, Ohio. One of our favorite courses around here. It's Jack Nicklaus designed.
I'd say our home course.
Certainly our home course. If we were a pro, it'd be our home course for sure. I'd like to see what Scotty Scheffler would shoot out there at the Valley of the Eagles. Listen, let's not sugarcoat it. It was my worst round of the year.
Yeah.
We picked up a 10 on number 5. I was having a mental breakdown. It was a bad day. It was a sad day.
Yes.
But I don't know. We had some chances for some birdie putts. I thought I played well at moments. Ethan took home the W, but it was a fun time. I think every man at some point in their life should experience just having a round of golf with the fellas, because it's
100%.
It's an experience like no other.
100%. Yeah. No, it was good, and we'll do golf even more coming up here soon too. So, yeah.
All right, I think that's all we got for you today on episode 2 of the setup. We'll be pumping some more of these out here pretty soon.
We're moving. We're moving. And
we're moving.
Quick guards update: they're up 6-3.
6-3
in the bottom third. But yeah,
right. Better than I thought they'd be doing.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll catch you guys back here next Tuesday, I believe, for episode 3 of the setup.